In today's video, I'm going to demystify cornering for you in 7 easy steps. But the most important part is I'm going to take my spiritual download that I've received from the biking gods, directly from them, aka Brett Tippy, just him. And I'm going to download into your mind immediately with one YouTube video, the exact step-by-step process that's going to take you from a beginner all the way to pro. Now, many of you may know me as the wife, same kids, same paid for minivan, guy who cuts his own hair on the internet. And that's actually pretty accurate. And the fact of the matter is that with this knowledge inside of my mind and this body that I'm going to share with you today, you're going to become an incredibly better rider. In fact, 100, maybe even 1,000 times the better rider that you were last week. In fact, this Christmas, you're not going to show up and your wife isn't going to say, "Aren't you too old to do that anymore?" No, she's going to look at you and say, "Merry Christmas, honey," because you're a great mountain biker. All right, so for those of you that actually want to learn how to corner, let's demystify it right now. Step one, the first thing you need to be able to do is get low with your feet level. Getting low with your feet level enables you to make room to move the bike side to side. A lot of coaches will tell you, hey, you gotta get your outside foot dropped. Frankly, for this video, I don't really care if you drop your outside foot or not. It doesn't really matter. If you get the fundamentals right, whatever technique that you want to use is going to work fine. So get low, touch your seat to seat. In other words, touch the seat of your pants to the seat of your saddle. Once you do that, come up a few inches and move. For tall riders, you're going to need to move a lot. You're not moving enough. For really short riders, if you are 5'6" or so and you're riding a 29er, you're not going to need to move down quite as low, and that's okay. You actually don't need to move as much as a taller rider. So first thing first, get low on the bike. Once you've gotten low on the bike, practice moving the bike side to side. When you move the bike side to side, the most important thing that this allows you to do is what a lot of coaches call bike body separation. I think it's a little bit of a confusing term because what is bike body separation? It actually is moving the bike and the body independently of each other. Okay, so just focus on the side to side motion. And if you can touch your seat to the inside of each one of your thighs, if your knees are wide like this, then you're effectively getting bike body separation properly. Okay, so this is the foundation of the most important part of moving. It's getting low and then also being able to move the bike side to side. That's it. It's not that complicated. Once you've gotten low and you've been able to move the bike side to side, what we want to do is be able to steer using the lean of the bike. Okay, this is different from turning the bars at a low speed. We're talking about high speed cornering over cool stuff. So if you want to be out there slam dunking over rocks and roots and just crushing through the trails and having a lot of fun over the season and be a great mountain biker, what you need to be able to do is carve turns much like a skier. Check out this picture. I'm going to win at this. This is going to be the wrong spot. By carving the turn, you're using the sidewall of the tire to grab into the corner so you can turn. This allows you to have grip, and more importantly, it allows you to stay low and balanced. Now, once you've gotten low and tilted the bike over to the side, then what you can do is add some timing. So what you want to do is say out loud, low, lean, and look. So once you get low and once you lean, those are the precursors to being able to ride a bike. Now, hold up for just a second here. This is where my philosophy is going to differ from the 6 skills approach that's taught by the PMBI, by the BICP, and all the other great coaching organizations out there. Those guys are great. The problem is if you're going to roll in and add the right skeletal position to the wrong muscles, then you're going to end up being imbalanced. This is why so many intermediate riders specifically get stuck with cornering, is because they're not told how to do this. So again, I just have to flat out tell you, if you can get low on the bike and lean it over, but you feel like it's challenge, it's probably because you're not supporting your torso using your core muscles. You need to practice this independently of cornering. It is absolutely one of the things that if you go into this and you just think, okay, I'll put my body in the right position, you're flat out wrong. I did another video on this 2 days ago. Look in the channel, you'll find it. The most important thing is being able to support the body using the core. Once you do this, then what you're doing is you're actually pushing forces down of gravity of your body's weight through the feet entirely. Now, what's different about this is when you look, simply by looking with your eyes, everything follows. If you have the correct movement patterns and if you have the correct torso support from the core. The reason why is because it allows your torso to move independently of where your hands are located and you're not attached to the hands. Now, once you make this low, lean, and look move happen, you're going to notice that if you're on the concrete on some flat area, it's actually pretty easy to carve. Now, here's the next step. Once you get low, lean, and looked, then you're going to notice that you turn sharper when you lean the bike more. My recommendation would be to play around with pressure in the feet, try to keep them level. What this does is it allows you, again, just like a skier, to tilt the bike in for more curve and tilt the bike up for less curving. This puts you in control. It gives you the ability to control the lean of the bike. Now that we've gotten the lean of the bike settled, you need to practice this 5, 10, 20 times until it becomes automatic. Now, a great assessment here is to be able to lean the bike without putting any pressure into the hands. The way you want to do this is not by dropping the outside foot. Here's one of the downsides of dropping the outside foot, is that if you drop the outside foot, it's actually going to lean everything up, and it's also going to give you problems when you're out on the trail. I'm going against the grain by saying this, and it's just the truth. Why? Because based on physics, I'll show you in a little bit. Now, once you've got the low, lean, and look, and you've modulated the lean angle, what you've done is you've found a good balance point to start cornering from. Now, if you want to take this to the trail, the number one challenge you're going to need to overcome is that of traction. Okay, this is just going to take a little bit of practice. The most important thing you can do, though, is have the feet level with the bike leaned over, and you want to apply pressure. The way you need to apply pressure is directly in line with where your knees, and draw a line from your knees to your toes and push in this direction with equal pressure. When you want to do this is very simple. If you have a washed out corner, say I was talking to Greg, my friend from out west, and he's got loose over hardpack, chunk, he's got some Gnar. What you want to do is when you're cornering, you want to add pressure where there's already traction. So if you see an area with really good grippy roots, or if you're carving and you're about to go over a turn and there's going to be a drop, push before you run out of traction, or push while there's traction under the tires. It's really important to do this. All right, so is this resonating with you so far? Is this helpful? Is this something maybe different than what you've heard before? Let's actually dive a little bit deeper into what to do next. Now, once you've targeted the traction and you've pushed into the pedals equally, going over rocks or roots, and you found that traction, the next thing you're going to need to contend with is up and down and side to side forces. Now, this is where I absolutely disagree with the drop your outside foot crowd. Dropping your outside foot is the right approach if you're racing BMX, if you're riding big, tall berms that are smooth. It's absolutely totally fine if you have a really sharp turn. The fact of the matter is that the way that your body works is that if you lock something and you balance on one point, then all the forces coming up through the bike are going to go into that point and act on you. Guys, I learned this in 6th grade. If you, did anyone else take physics in like 6th or 7th grade, and for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction? Okay, so let's use common sense. If you take a dropped leg, what happens is you take that leg and you make it straight. And if you stiffen that leg and you load it, because everyone's saying load the outside foot, and you go over rocks and roots, is that leg going to be able to absorb forces? Yes, it's just going to transfer them up through to your hip. Now, if you're a follower of, say, Lee McCormack, or if you're a follower of, say, Aaron Gwin, I think did a video on this. If you're a follower of Rich Drew, there's some positives to dropping the outside foot, okay? Because what you're going to do is you're going to lean the bike over using the upper body, or you're going to lean the bike over and load it at a certain time, according to Lee. Again, nothing wrong with these guys. Like, I'm not going to do clickbait where it's like the gurus are wrong. Look, we're all on the same team here. We're trying to help you ride bikes. I just happen to be the guy who's got the paid-for minivan, who cuts his own hair, same wife, same kids, and I'm in my garage yelling at you about your techniques. So you should listen to me. Now, the truth is, when you drop the outside foot, and you load the outside foot, and your bike goes over a bump, the forces of the bumps will be transferred up through the ankle, through the knee, through the hip, and into the body. Think about this for a second. I'll even demonstrate it here on this video. Watch how much my torso moves. Can you see the instability? The alternative is to think about standing on a wide platform and then using your body to make room rather than bracing against the outside foot. So this philosophy that I believe in is primarily feet level with the ground, kind of like the skier. What this allows us to do is whenever forces are transferred up, our ankles are bent, our knees are bent, our hips are bent. By the time that the forces reach our torso, they've already been dampened by a built-in suspension that is just given to us by God. I'm pretty sure I can't design a better thing than God. Yeah, can't do it. So let's use our God-given talents and our abilities built into our body to absorb those bumps. And what's really easy about this is that you just equally weight both feet and you make sure that you can support your torso using the core. These are the fundamentals that so many people miss. Again, this specifically is for you if you're an intermediate mountain biker and you feel stiff going over rocks and roots or you lose traction. If your upper body is locked. All right, so this is the part that my wife is going to love. Just kidding. This is the part you need to pay attention to because if we're locking around a corner, let me show you this. If we're locked here and forces get transferred from my wrist that's locked to my elbow that's locked to a shoulder that's locked, my shoulder girdle is locked, all those forces go like this, and I become the bobblehead, not the pilot of the bike. This is why you lock up and get tense when you're riding your bike downhill and you're going over rocks and roots and you're cornering. It's not because your body position is wrong. It's because you literally are locking the muscles you're supposed to be moving. And the way that they're supposed to move is like this. We have scapular mobility built into our bodies. Let's use it. All right, now you guys know how I paid off my van so early. All right, jokes aside, if you guys really want to shred with confidence and corner on those downhills and feel absolutely connected with the bike, again, the core, no pun intended, fundamental is being able to support the torso with the core. It allows us to move the arms and legs with a lean bike while we're going through a corner. It also allows us to move the legs up and down like suspension that they're like really good at. So you don't have to rely on your bike to be the thing that gets you down the trail. This is what all the riders out there that are really shredding with confidence and doing it well are doing. Now, remember, we're here to start a movement. I'm here to help 10,000 mountain bikers become great at mountain biking and hit the goals of their dreams and being the riders that they dream of. And right now there's 40 million mountain bikers in the United States, and mountain biking is a whole lot harder than we are good at it. So let's get to work. If you're here on this channel, you're in the right place. So the most important thing I can ask you to do is just share this video with someone that you think this would help. Thanks so much for doing that. Now, one final point about cornering that's going to help you tremendously is this idea of modulation, okay? So we talked earlier about modulating the lean of the bike using our feet. Another thing we can modulate is just turning. So when we turn our upper body, this can be super, super, super helpful in getting you that extra cornering ability. If you've ever seen a rider just hit a corner and pop out, go in a different direction, this can help you a ton. And this is the drill I'd recommend. Actually stand like this in a riding position and pretend that you're on your bike and just look behind you to the right and look behind you to the left. And what I want you to specifically pay attention to is how much your eyes move, then your head, and how your shoulders follow, and then your hips, and then the knees even move just a little bit. And what I want you to practice is to go as far as you can to the right and to the left. Then what I want you to do is grab a friend, hop on the bike, and try it on the bike. By twisting and moving on top of the bike, it allows us to open up our hips and turn the body independent of the bike so that we don't have to drop the outside foot in our corners. That's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, check out the video I just did on the 5 body position mistakes that intermediate riders do that keep them stuck. Share the channel, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.